Hey, what's up? This is Caelan Huntress, and I'm going to be updating my email onboarding sequence. So I figured I'd do a live stream and show you how I do it, because I make a lot of email automations, and this is my personal stack. I'm here in ConvertKit, and I have 5 different ways that people can get onto the SP newsletter list, the Stellar Platforms newsletter. But then I have a conditional right here at the top. Do they already have this tag? Because if they have a tag because they've opted in for a lead magnet, and then they opt in for another one, I want to treat them differently. And so I have a double up sequence. And what this does is it gives me 2 onboarding sequences. I've got the 2020 Q4 Stellar onboarding sequence. This is the last time I revised it. And if they go all the way through this sequence at the end of 14 days, then they get this tag for SP newsletter. And that's who I send my newsletters to. So my weekly newsletters don't go to the people who just subscribed. They have to get through this 2-week onboarding sequence first. But then after this tag is applied, if they subscribe again to anything else, then I know that these are pretty good customers and I can send them some more content. But I want to update these sequences. Unfortunately, I can't just go in and make edits because it'll mess with my metrics. So this is my current welcome email. You've been subscribed, you've been confirmed, so you get this one, and I'm happy to land in your inbox, and I like this GIF. But the problem with just editing this, and with like ConvertKit has this great way that you could just drag and drop the sequence of them, but the problem is I lose the clarity of my metrics. These metrics over here, they show me the open rate and the click rate for every email in this sequence. And if I change these around, I can't compare what worked with my last sequence compared to what worked with this one. And so what I do is I duplicate the sequences a couple times a year. And so I'm going to go over into the content. Actually, what I want to do is I want to do, look at this, it gets pages and pages. All right, so I'm going to go to automations and go to sequence. And I've got up here at the top, 2020 Q1 onboarding sequence and onboarding sequence 2. And so I could see my open rate was 36% for the first sequence, and my open rate was lower for the second sequence. And my numbers are off because I changed it and I tried replicating it. So, you know, there's already some corruption in this data. But looking at what I have for the most recent quarter, I've got a 36% open rate. For the first sequence, it's about the same, but my click rate is much higher. I'm doing better on my click rate, and my unsubscribes are also doing pretty well. For the sequence 2, my metrics aren't as good. And so I want to make some changes, but instead of just digging in and making those changes, what I'm going to do is replicate these sequences. So I'm going to go to settings and then go down here to duplicate. And when I duplicate it, I'm going to change the title so that instead of Q4 2020, I'm going to call this 2021. We're about in Q3. I'm going to call it 2021 Q3. And then I'm going to go back to the sequences. So I have the first one, and now I want to do the second one. So I'm going to replicate this last most recent one. I'm going to go to settings, scroll down to the bottom, and duplicate this into a new sequence. So now I have a new pair. And if I edit this new pair, then these edits are not going to pollute the metrics that I've already collected. So I can see, like, I've got 0% on these. And nobody's going to get this until I make the changeover in the automation. So I'll do that right now to show you how to do it. I go into all onboarding, which is where I have all of this. If they purchase something and get the customer tag, if they attend a masterclass of mine, if they opt in for a lead magnet, if any of these conditions are met, then ConvertKit asks them, hey, do you already have this tag? Are you already on the newsletter list? And if the answer is no, they go into the onboarding sequence. If the answer is yes, they go into the double up sequence. And so I'm going to edit this step so that instead of the 2020 Q4, I'm going to do the 2021 Q3, the first one. And changing this sequence will not reset the stats on this item, which is kind of cool because this way I can keep count. I made some edits today, which took this stat down to 0. So again, dirty data. But now I'm going to go ahead and change this over so that it's completely changed. And now if somebody subscribes, they're going through this new sequence that I've just set up. And now I can go through and edit this. And the big reason I wanted to do this edit is because I have, I have a quick survey as my 1-day follow-up. I took this one out. It's a case study that I want to put back in because it's a great case study. It showcases a lot of the complicated kind of work I do. But this is the reason I wanted to change it, is because I have this article about 10 books that changed my life. And I have it in the first sequence. And I noticed some unsubscribes have been surprising me, possibly because I'm revealing a little too much here. And so I think I want to stick with more forward-facing, muggle-friendly kind of newsletters for this first one. This one right here is for an online course that I sell. Go ahead and, but it's not 30 days anymore. Make a map in, I'll just call it 30 days or less. And update all this stuff. And once I have all this set, like these changes, all I have to do is save all, and now they're live. Because of the infrastructure that I set up at the back end, these are always going to go through in this order. And so now I can make the updates that only the new customers will see. But the people who are in the last sequence, they're still in that sequence. They're not going to see these changes that I make. So this is the kind of geeky stuff that I like to do as the creative director of Stellar Platforms. And I'm having a lot of fun doing this stuff. So if you find this useful, then let me know. Leave a comment and let me know what you're doing for your online email onboarding sequence. And maybe we can learn from each other. Thanks for watching. Oh, wait a minute. Because I'm doing my 100 days of live stream, I have a thing I'm going to end this on, don't I? Yes, I do. I'm going to end it on this video.